Big Z Reviews. Reacher is the newest adaptation of a series of novels by Lee Child, but this time you have a big beefy man playing Jack Reacher instead of the miniature Tom Cruise, and it is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the series.
Police, don't move!
Jack Reacher, parents deceased, retired Army.
Bronze Star, Silver Star, and a Purple Heart.
What in God's name is a guy like that doing in Margrave?
What's a guy like that doing in jail? Zip ties?
Cuffs didn't fit him. You guys recycle?
So there's a bit of a background for my experience with the Jack Reacher series. This was one of my dad's favorite books, and I know when he passed, he had kept a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet of all the books he read. He actually had read like over 10,000 books in his life. And after he died, I went through and read some of his 10 out of 10 books that he'd rated. And the Jack Reacher was one of them. I read a couple, 3 or 4 of the Jack Reacher books. And they're, pulpy, action thrillers. They're dad books. And this is kind of a dad series. And as that, it still is great. It's a lot of fun. And this one is actually, this is one of the books that I read. And I think it's relatively true to it. It's been a little bit since I've read it. But, I remember the whole, how they were, the whole counterfeiting stuff. I remember all that. And I remember, I think some of the detective that he worked with. A lot of the other stuff I didn't really remember, so this is still kind of new for me, so I enjoyed it. But I think they're relatively true to the character and, to the story. And I mean, he has a lot of books, I think that they could have, a long-running series with this. Each season do a new book, and I think it could be great. So this time around, Alan Ritchson is playing Jack Reacher. And he's even, he's a lot bigger. He's, a foot taller than Tom Cruise. I mean, not quite a foot. But he's still, 5 inches shorter than Jack Reacher in the books. I'm 6'5", and Alan Ritchson is, 6'2". And I think Jack Reacher is, 6'7" or something like that. I might be wrong, but, he's a big man. And but it feels like they definitely, he has big man energy. And I know they film him from below a lot to make him look even bigger. Although it's funny, sometimes, when they're in scenes with Willa Fitzgerald, she must be relatively tall, too. Because, she doesn't look that much smaller than him, when they're right next to each other. Or when they're kissing. But, whatever. But they definitely didn't have to use a box for him to stand on like Tom Cruise. But, she's, the police officer that's with him for a lot. And the detective is Malcolm Goodwin as Oscar Finley, and he they're kind of the three that are in solving this mystery, and it's kind of against the world, against these rich people in this town that rule this town. They're trying to do some weird, dirty things, and that group, that team is I really liked. And there's another a private detective that comes in, and so that core four is really good. And the villains are a little over the top, like Bruce McGill as the Mayor Grover Teal. And they have the shitty son and the rich dad. And then you have all of the I think with the Venezuelan or whatever, people that are coming in, the hitmen and stuff. Or all the people for Jack Reacher to kill. But I mean, and it is too, they don't pull back on the kill scenes. The action is really great. The action is better than a lot of movies. There's no shaky cam, and they actually look like Alan Ritchson is actually doing almost all the action. I'm sure he had stunt doubles for a couple of stuff, but all the hand-to-hand stuff is fully in camera. And the gunplay is great too. The only thing I remember, one thing I distinctly remembered from the book this is based on was at one point, the big climax, he brings in a shotgun and it starts blasting people away, and something about how he describes the shotgun just tearing people apart. It was so brutally written, and like, but at one point he comes in and he just has a handgun, and I'm like, oh, no shotgun. Oh well, I guess they didn't want to get too gory with it, but it's a lot of fun. Like, it's one of the better shows I've seen, directly from Amazon, on Amazon Prime, and I think it has a lot of potential for further series. There's a lot of books that they can base the shows upon. The only thing is, like, I think he's kind of like a traveling hobo, essentially. Like, he's a little bit like Rambo in the first movie, but like there's not like that much that I would love to see these characters come back, but I mean, he's kind of like, each time he goes to a new town and solves that murder. But this was a good one to start at, because it is a good introduction to him, because like one of the people that's murdered is Jack Reacher's brother. So because of that, he gets a lot of like flashbacks and looking at who he is, and like his, why he is how he is, his his military upbringing, and how he is military police, and now he's just roaming the country solving problems, and it's a lot of fun. I think if you like action mystery thrillers, like, this would be perfect for you. I probably give like a 9.5 out of 10. Like, I really loved this show. But thanks for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe down below. Thanks.